Hello and welcome to tcyonline.com. In this video, we will discuss a specific type of GRE reading comprehension question, that is strengthening the argument. Now let's try a strengthening the argument question. Recently, an unusually high number of dolphins have been found dead of infectious diseases. Okay, high number of dolphins have been found dead of infectious diseases. These infectious diseases are causing the death of these dolphins, and most of these had abnormally high tissue concentrations of certain compounds that, even in low concentrations, reduce dolphins' resistance to infection. Okay, now these compounds, even in low concentrations, they can reduce the dolphins' immunity to infection. Okay, so dolphins become less resistant to infection, means they catch up infection very easily with the presence of these compounds. Okay, now they get infected, they get these infectious disease, and they are found dead. So you can clearly see a causal relationship: compounds leading to infection and infection leading to death. Okay, there's a cause, there's an effect. Okay, now let's see. The only source of these compounds in the dolphin's environment is the boat paint. Okay, now where does these compounds come from? They come from the boat paint. Okay, so the boat paint releases these compounds in the dolphin's habitat, and that leads to infection, and this infection leads to death. Okay, simple. Now from here on, therefore, now the moment I see the words like therefore, hence, okay, it triggers, like, you should understand that now comes the conclusion. Therefore, since dolphins rid their bodies of compounds rapidly once exposure ceases, their mortality rate should decline rapidly if such boat paints are banned. Okay, so the author argues that these dolphins, they can get rid of these compounds rapidly once they are not exposed to these compounds. That means once the exposure stops, the dolphins can cleanse their bodies. Okay, that means these compounds can easily leave the bodies of the dolphins and they can become healthy once again. And so the author finally says this can lead to the reduction in the mortality of these dolphins once we ban the paints, boat paints. Okay, simple. So in most of the strengthening conclusions, you have to understand, if there is a causal relationship, X causes Y. Okay, now you have to predict or anticipate what should be the answer. If X causes Y and I have to strengthen the conclusion, then I should say yes, only X causes Y. Or I can say there's nothing other than X that can lead to Y. Okay, so I have to give some supporting evidences that can lead to strengthening the conclusion that X causes Y. Now in this, banning the boat paints can reduce the mortality. Okay, and the supporting evidence is dolphins rid their bodies of compounds rapidly once exposure ceases. Okay, so this will lead to decline in mortality. So my probable answer should be something like, okay, even if the boat paints are banned, for example, okay, even if the boat paints are banned but exposure continues, then it's no help to dolphins. Okay, I have to ensure that boat paints are banned, exposure ceases, dolphins will survive. Okay, let's look into the options. See, the level of compounds typically used in boat paints today are lower than they were in boat paints manufactured a decade ago. Okay, now in the argument I had seen that even in low concentrations, okay, you can see even in low concentrations, okay, reduces dolphins' resistance to infection. So even if today's compounds their levels are less in today's both paints, that will definitely lead to infection. So A cannot be my answer. Okay, now let's see. In high concentrations, the compounds are toxic to many types of marine animals. Okay, see, the whole passage talks about how dolphins get infected. Nothing is discussed about marine animals. Okay, so most often you can see in your GRE or GMAT, reading comprehension or critical reasoning questions, a causal relationship is discussed in the passage or in the argument, but you will definitely find answer choice which talks about some sort of a correlation. Okay, and that's a trap. Now, like you can see here, they are trying to draw a correlation or draw a parallel between dolphins and other marine animals. Okay, never ever think that what happens with dolphins will also happen with marine animals. Okay, this is a trap. Stay away from it. Okay, next, the compounds break down into harmless substances after a few months of exposure to water or air. Now let's assume the both paints are banned, and whatever compounds that are present in the water, okay, they become harmless. Okay, they become harmless after a few months when they are exposed to water or air. Okay, so if the existing compounds become harmless, both paints are banned, no new compounds are added to the dolphin's environment. Yes, okay, I can definitely say that dolphins would rid their bodies of the compounds rapidly once exposure ceases. Their mortality rate should decline, okay, because the compounds break down into harmless substances and both paints are banned, no new substances are being added. So I got my answer. C should be your answer choice. Okay, so this is how you have to understand. The biggest takeaway from this lecture would be, if there is a causal relationship in the argument, okay, try to strengthen the cause, that this cause leads to this effect. Okay, never ever fall into the traps of correlation. Okay, if something can happen with X, it need not necessarily happen with Y as well. Like in this example, we have seen what happens with dolphins need not necessarily happen with all other marine animals. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. Keep visiting tcyonline.com for the best online GRE and GMAT prep. Thank you.